Well, bowling fans, thanks for joining us again today. Motion Plus Lanes is the site, the 6th annual Action Heating Alternate Shot Doubles Tournament. Joey, we got to watch the bowlers all day during qualifying in the semifinals, and lots of strikes thrown out there, and you got to figure they're going to have to do it on the TV show, too.
Well, without a doubt. I mean, Motion, as you know, can be a high-scoring house. We've seen them play a little tricky on some of the earlier shows, but I think whoever's going to win today is going to have their striking shoes on.
4 great teams. Our opening match, our 4th-seeded team, Kyle Gertz and Mike Jamrose, the youngest team in the bunch, but little experience on TV for both of them in the past.
Yeah, and they know the house. They bowled at Motion for years, so they know the intricacies of the pair they're on.
Yeah, 9 and 10, always a TV pair at Motion Plus, and a couple of bowlers that have been on that 9 and 10 as well a few times over the years. 3rd-seeded team, Chad Kloss, Eric Fritton. They've bowled doubles a lot. Chad, a former PBA Tour player, and Eric, one of the best amateurs in the Midwest.
Yeah, and Chad, again, a state-of-the-art type player. Off the tour, came back, much better player than he was before, and Fritton, one of the best lefties there is.
And then our only team that has 2 right-handers on it today, our 2nd-seeded team, Greg Thomas, Tony Oliva. Greg, former tour player himself back in the 80s and 90s, and Tony, a great college player and pretty good amateur career for both of them in the last couple of seasons.
Well, exactly. And Tony, probably the least known player of the bunch today out of the 8 bowlers. Greg, a power righty, but we know Tony knows how to strike.
And waiting in the wings, championship match. I guess you can say the strikingest couple today, Tony Roventini, Rochelle Roventini. Tony threw a 900 series earlier in his career. Rochelle, lots of tournaments under her belt as well, but is a little extra pressure being the top seed and bowling with a spouse.
Well, that's it. There's some unknown pressures there, but Rochelle authoring an 800 series this season, so she knows how to get her done too.
I think there's going to be lots of strikes today. It's going to be fun out there. Make sure you come back after the commercial break for the opening match here from Motion Plus Lanes and the 2014 Action Alternate Shot Doubles.
Join the first annual Steel Wind Industries Kids Bowling for Kids High School Tournament to benefit the Max McGee Juvenile Diabetes Research Center at Children's Hospital of Wisconsin. There's over $4,500 in scholarships to be awarded. Participate at the qualifier location nearest you, and the championship tournament will be broadcast on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel 32. The first annual Kids Bowling for Kids Tournament with over $4,500 in scholarships. Find registration details at sportsradio1250.com. Sponsored by Steel Wind Industries, Boucher Automotive, and Bank Mutual.
Opening match here from Motion Plus Lanes, the 2014 Action Heating Alternate Shot Doubles. This very unique format, Joey. Each bowler taking turns no matter if they throw a strike or a spare, and you can see Kerry Catania, proprietor of Motion Plus Lanes, getting things off to a rousing start.
Looks like Kerry had about 6 cups of coffee this morning here, so he's raring to go.
No doubt, and as busy as the center is, lots of fundraisers, lots of tournaments. Yeah, Kerry's pretty much got to keep a caffeine drip going in order to stay awake sometimes. Chad Kloss, former PBA Tour player, leading things off for the Kloss-Fritton team, and mixes it up for a nice strike.
That's everybody's best friend when you carry that light mixer on an opening shot. Keeps that swing loose.
Absolutely, and with this tournament pattern, you see it here for every show here at Motion Plus Lanes. Talented these bowlers, they're going to find a way to get to the pocket no matter what. It's a matter of getting those 7s and 10 pins out.
Now, we know Chad can hook the lane, and that bull didn't look like it curved all that much, so we must be on some volume.
Yeah, it's fresh for the TV show. It's about a 42-foot length pattern, so lots of volume out there, and you'll see even a rev player like Kyle Gertz in here playing it very direct to the pocket. And once again, it's a matter of making sure you kick those corners out, and Kyle does it right there.
Well, that's the advantage of a heavily oiled pattern when you got some hand. If you miss in just a pinch, it's going to hold pocket.
Yeah, as we talked about in the opening, you know, unique here, a lefty-righty on both teams. You'll see that in the team in the final match, too, with Rochelle Roventini, the righty, and Tony Roventini, the lefty. Only team that's made up of 2 right-handers, Greg Thomas and Tony Oliva. You'll see them bowling the winner of this match. And
so we got a good mix of power players, righty, lefty, straight players.
Absolutely, and once again, oh, that's pretty unusual right there for a stone 8-pin here at Motion Plus Lanes.
Well, probably not unusual for Mike. I mean, Mike, a power lefty, kind of a power stroker lefty, would have to call him by today's standards.
Yeah.
When you're in the pocket high flush, you're going to leave some weird stuff.
Yeah, and that 8-pin, nothing even near it when it's going by, because it's a true alternate shot format. You're going to see Cal Gertzen make the spare here. And then when Mike Jamrose gets up in the third frame, he'll be shooting the first ball. So once again, you get a lane you might be comfortable on. All of a sudden, if you don't strike, you're moving to the other lane.
So that could be an advantage for a righty-lefty team, especially if you're leaving corner pins, which is the typical leave for high-caliber players.
Exactly. If Eric Fritton here were to leave a 7-pin on this shot, which he probably won't, as he mixes up nicely, yeah, Chad Kloss would, you'd think, have an easier time making that 7-pin as a righty, and vice versa for him.
But then again, heavy volume in the middle of the lane, going for a 7-pin for a righty can be tougher than a 10-pin.
Yeah, you got to make sure you're going pretty direct at those spares. If we do see some corner pins today, you're going to see very straight shots at him, no doubt about that.
And we see Chad blew in the thumb hole there. He puts a little warm, moist air in there, gives him a little more secure feel on that thumb. Well, watch how smooth and aggressive, open-handed release, and that one definitely faced up properly.
Yeah, you can see why Chad spent a little time out on tour a few years back with a nice loose release like that on the bottom.
That's it. You know, as good as Chad was before he went out on tour, he came back a much more seasoned player.
Absolutely. Big in the local tournament scene. He's traveling the Midwest to a lot of amateur tournaments on weekends, and another great shot there by Jamrose, bouncing back after that 8-pin with a strike in the third frame. Keeps his team within 20 pins, and that's the one thing early with this alternate shot format. If you get a partner that struggles and shoots 3 or 4 first balls in a frame in a row, you're probably falling behind 20 to 30 pins against the other team. I want to thank FM Auto for their sponsorship of everything here at Motion Plus Lanes, as well as Action Heating and Cooling, the 6th year of this event with the alternate shot doubles.
Kyle using a brutal nightmare from Brunswick. Strong asymmetric, and he just annihilates the rack on that shot.
No chance for anything to stand there, no doubt about it. And that starts off a double, first one of the day for Gertzen and Jamrose on TV. Keeps them within 10 pins, depending on what Eric Fritton can do on this shot here. Eric, 75 300 games, one ahead of his teammate, Chad Kloss, only 74. Only 74. I think you can have everybody else in the center here, and they only have 149 300 games. Real nice out of his hand, and that is pretty unusual there, Joey.
Oh, well, you know, I've left the 410 in the pocket. It comes in a little steep, and it looked high flush.
Yeah, let's see if we get the replay here. Yeah, it's just high flush. And
yeah, that didn't look as high as the result.
Well, let's see what Chad Kloss can do. We're getting in the first commercial break of the day. Probably just get one to keep it close in the match.
As he does. Yes.
No bounce there, so we're going to take our first commercial break of the afternoon. Join us back from Motion Plus Lanes for the rest of this opening match in just one moment. Four frames in the book here for Motion Plus Lanes, and Chad Kloss, Eric Fritton have to bounce back off of a bad break in the fourth frame to get the lead back, and at least for Eric Fritton with this alternate shot format, he gets his chance back at it right away, Joey.
And a one-game match, one open, can be killer.
And especially in the format we see here at Motion Plus Lanes, these are usually high-scoring finals. Usually it takes, no matter the format, singles, doubles, or team, it takes 230 or 240 to win a match at least. Nice out of Eric's hand again, and that time just gets a slap 7 in there. So keeps his team within a mark, but with the Gertzen Jamrose team working on that big double right there, Mike Jamrose can extend this lead out to 14 pins.
You know, it's just a matter of time before one of the teams takes control of the match, and by that I mean a 5-6 bagger, because Dutching is not going to get it done in this match. And that was almost an extremely bad break, where a high flush shot could have left an 8-10.
Yeah, indeed. And let's see if we get a replay on that, and just watch how hard that ball digs through the pocket. Nowhere near that 8-pin, and I think it was the head pin that bounced off the sideboard and took the 10-pin out.
Right. Now, if we analyze the left lane to the right lane is finishing stronger, or it's either hooking earlier. One or the other, the players will have to make some type of an adjustment.
Yeah, especially for both the lefties. We've seen both their last shots. It gets a little bit high, and they almost leave. Well, Eric did leave a really bad break with a 6-7, and Mike probably breathing a sigh of relief that 10-pin went down.
So when the left side is hooking more and finishing stronger, that doesn't always mean the right side is.
It depends on if there's carry down on the right side. Depends on the topography of the lane. There's a lot of factors that go into play. And I think Mike just kind of fit that one a little bit when he let it go.
Yeah, a little bit. And an easier spare for a right-hander.
And no doubt about that. Kyle should be able to hook the ball into all 3 pins and take the 2-4-7 out with the ball. But how many times do you remember shooting at a 2-4-7, Joey, as a right-hander?
No, not too many times.
So he's probably going to play us just like a little bit of a bucket. Make sure you get them all with the ball. You can't draw it up any better than that. Well, all even right now, thanks to that 7 count in the 6th frame for the Gertz and Jamrose team. And Chad Klosser can step up, get his team a 10-pin lead if he can strike on this shot. Interesting uniform choices today. I shouldn't say uniform choices, but shirt choices today for Eric Fritton and Chad Kloss wearing Cardinals fan jerseys, but Eric Fritton originally from Missouri, so we can forgive him a little bit for that.
Yes,
Chad,
he is a diehard Cardinal fan.
Chad, I'm not so sure about. We'll have to talk to him after the match. Real loose.
He was probably given the free T-shirt, so why not wear it?
Oh, and maybe that's what he gets for being a Cardinals fan right there for this moment. Stone 9-pin. Second ball right through the high flush in the pocket, leaving a 9 in this case before Mike Jamrose left an 8-pin.
So maybe the right lane is hooking stronger for both righties and lefties.
Could be. Should have no problem picking that up, and he does.
Yeah, you would have to say the Cardinals are the Achilles heel for the Milwaukee Brewers. Even though they had an off year this year, the Brewers, that is.
Yep. Yeah, no doubt about it. And everybody's picking early. You look at all the baseball writers, and they're picking the Cardinals again for the NL Central. So Brewers definitely got their work cut out for them this year.
You got to also think about Pittsburgh, the Pirates.
We had a phenomenal year last year, especially towards the end of the season to get in the playoffs, and a great bounce-back shot there by Chad. So Chad and Eric both wanted to thank Kerry Catania for hosting the event again. 6th year of this alternate shot doubles tournament, and a lot of bowlers here. Full field in the house today, 32 teams, some of the best teams you'll see from Wisconsin, Northern Illinois, battling out for the top prize here today.
And Mike starting from an inside line, banking it out, dead flush. We have a tie match.
Nicely done there by Mr. Jamrose. And boy, I remember bowling against him when we were teenagers back in the day at Red Carpet South. And he used to put a hurt on me there all the time in junior leagues, and still to this day throws the ball very well. Now the big pressure shot here, Cal Gertz. I mean, young kid. He's only in his early 20s. And but he's learned a lot when he went away to Vincennes University for a couple years for school, bowled collegiately. Got a lot of help down there from head coach Gary Sparks, who's a phenomenal coach and changed his game a lot. Real heavy forward roll, and how about that for a messenger?
That was an impressive shot. Notice he stayed down nice and low at the line, and he's a tall kid.
Yep. No doubt. And yeah, he used to have a real, when he bowled our Youth Challenge Series events back in the day, he was really more of a grip it and rip it, and you see a lot of movement from his head and his upper body, and now it's, Joey just said, real quiet, real still, and stays low at the line.
We'll see if Eric makes a tiny move inside to get a little bit less drive on the back. And he did get less drive and kind of a soft 7-pin.
Yeah, that 4-pin really just kind of fell in the flat gutter and went to sleep. Didn't do anything. Chad wasted no time getting up to shoot at it, and you can see here he's moved well to the right on the lane. He's going to be playing it very direct towards it. No problem covering it up, but now...
You know, that tap, if it's between strikes, you know, that's a 21-pin loss of pinfall. That's why it's so important to catch 2, 3, 4 baggers, because that's how you accumulate score. There's no other way to do it.
That's exactly it, and right now that's the difference in the match. The double that Gertzen and Jamrose have on the board right now has them that 10-pin lead and going to the 9th frame. He really torqued up on that one, Joey. No doubt once it got to the pocket it was going to be 10 down.
Yeah, he doesn't shortchange it at release. Never has and probably never will.
No doubt about that. 35 years old, keeps himself in good bowling shape, and he bowls probably more in the area than anybody. Just about Chad Kloss is about the only one I know that bowls as much as Eric does.
At 35, you should be in the peak of your game, both physically and mentally. And there's a little young turkey for Team Jamrose.
Yes, indeed. And right now with a 20-pin lead, they can go out for 246. Most here for Kloss and Fritton 226. So if they get this first strike in the 10th, pretty much game over.
That shows how important that last tap was for the Kloss Fritton team.
And now you got the young gun for this team up there and having to make the clutch strike. So I know in the past we've seen Kyle and Chad kind of go back and forth, messing around a little bit, trying to get in Kyle's head, but nothing this time around. Real good out of his hand. Shreds the rack.
Yeah, the Pins aren't standing much of a chance, especially on that left lane.
And you can see there pretty much, the high fives there, the handshakes between the team. Technically, Mike Jamrose sees one pin.
Right, but they know it's over, so congratulatory handshakes.
So with this shot, stay behind the foul line. You're going to move on to the semifinal match against Tony Oliva and Greg Thomas, previous winners of this alternate shot doubles tournament. And if you're carrying shots like that, Joey, it's going to be tough to stop you the rest of the day. Caves in the 4-6.
We know the pin gods can turn on us at any given time. How often have you had a game where everything falls and all of a sudden you leave 8-9 counts in one game?
Exactly. And, well, there's a little paralyzed 5 there for Chad. I think it was the 2 pin and the ball hit the 5 at the same time, and it never wiggled. A little reaction from the crowd as well about it. You don't see a bowler like Chad leaving cold 5 pins. That's a paralyzed 5. And we've seen a few of those here in Motion Plus lanes over the years. The 2 pin and the ball hit the 5 pin at the same time and just stand it back up. Matt Duty did that on our singles show a couple seasons back.
But we are throwing round objects at pretty much cylindrical round pins.
So with that strike there, Gertzen and Jamrose 246. Chad can strike here for 206 for his team.
Got the 5 out there. Nice shot, Chad.
246 to 205. Gertzen and Jamrose move on to the semifinal match. We'll be back with that for the 2014 Action Heating Alternate Shot Doubles in just a moment. Make sure you stay tuned. Join Steve Sparky Pfeiffer, Dwight Albrecht, and Phil Brilo as they discuss the PBA Tour and highlights of local bowling on the Spare Time Bowling Show, Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. on Sports Radio 1250 WSSP. Owner of Motion Plus Lanes, Kerry Catania, getting the crowd and the bowlers fired up for the semifinal match for the 2014 Action Heating Alternate Shot Doubles. And our second seed here, Tony Oliva and Greg Thomas starting things off. Tony Oliva for that team, bowling on lane number 9 here, Joey.
Yeah, Tony and Greg have been doubles partners for quite a few years and had some recent success at the USBC Nationals.
Yeah, and they've won this event a couple of years ago as well. They had that second place finish at the USBC Nationals a couple of years back. So, Tony, you're going to see both these players play the lanes very straight, but Tony much straighter than Greg. And that's what happens sometimes when you throw that high, hard one. Get that bucket cave or big 4 cave in.
Well, it's nice to get an opening break instead of an opening open.
Well, and you watch Gertzen and Jamrose. I mean, they come off the last game and they fire off the last 6 strikes in a row, so you know that team's hot, and you want to make sure you don't fall behind right away. And once again, they're going to have the young gun Kyle Gertzen start off the match.
Yeah, let's hope Kyle went to school on this right lane, being a little bit drier than the left.
Doing pretty well so far. Once again, kicks it out.
And that's the thing. That's why players want balance at the foul line, because their leverage becomes so much stronger, and it's easier to make moves on the lane. You can move deeper inside the oil and not worry about the ball not reacting.
Yeah, and Kyle's struck on every one of his shots so far. Mike Jamrose, the only errant shot last game with a 2-4-7, which came on that right lane, and a nice shot there by Mike to get his team an opening double, trying to get the crowd fired up behind him.
Yeah, I would say Team Jamrose is feeling it. That's an 8-bagger.
No doubt about that. And watch that 4-pin. Strong roll, kicks the 7 out. And Greg Thomas here, the high backswing. We can't even keep it in camera shot practically. And he got a little spinny on the release on that one, and that's why it went long, Joey.
Yeah, and using looks like a Pearl Deranged from Rotogrip, which is kind of a go-long, flip-hard ball, but if you keep it in the oil a little bit, you'll get the go-long part, but you won't get the strong back-end flip.
And now 2-8 here, nothing easy for Tony to shoot at. Straighter players sometimes going cross lane have a little problems with these railroads. He's real direct on it, no problem, gets them both with the ball. way you got to do it. Well, another 20-pin lead for a team, possibly after 2 frames, depending on what Oliva and Thomas do here. Greg with 48 total 300 games, 12 of them on the PBA Tour and PBA Regional Tour back in the day, and a big break to get that 7 out there.
Could have been a bad break with a 7-10 in the pocket, and definitely made a better shot there. Tony should have no trouble with the 10-pin conversion.
And yeah, our only team of 2 right-handers here with Tony and Greg. So changes that Nebraska Cornhusker ball. That's where Tony went to college. Bowled down there on a championship team back in the 90s.
Tony doesn't look that old.
Tony, 40 years old. Yeah, that was surprising that he was 40. Greg Thomas, 45. So one of these years left to have an over 100 doubles tournament maybe, Joey, and get it on the air here with our friends at Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. Have it, you can have a 60-year-old bowl with a 40-year-old, couple 50-year-olds. Make it worth at least 100. Of course, we've got our over 40 shootout coming up on March 9th at Sunset Bowl. 3 different divisions there, over 40, over 50, and over 60, and your chance to make the TV here on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. So give them a call at Sunset Bowl to find out about that event. And a Team 3-bagger for Gertson and Jamrose.
We may have to rename this Team Gertson since Kyle, again, has not missed.
All day.
But Mike just the one lone errant shot on this lane.
Kyle has himself 7 of 7 on strikes so far. Mike, nice out of the hand, and just the prettiest shot when you split that 8 and the 9, Joey.
So that's 10 in a row for them.
2 more. It's the Vera Papa 300, as Andy Vera Papa used to call any 12 in a row he had. And Greg Thomas wasting no time getting up on the approach here.
Well, he didn't strike his last 2 shots, and hasn't struck in his last 3. And it looked like he moved in a little bit.
Moved in, and he kind of floated it to the dry a little bit more, and the ball just didn't turn over enough, and watch that 6-pin just do nothing when it gets in the flat gutter.
No, even the 5 didn't really blow out like normally it would. And if Greg doesn't strike in 3 frames, you'd think he may make a ball change.
Distinct possibility, and a nice shot there to cover it up by Tony, and Tony's going, hey, partner, I like to shoot at a full rack for once. It's been 3 frames.
Well, I mean, Greg has power, and I'm seeing a ball change. We don't see lime green in his hand any longer, and I don't know if he's going to a weaker or stronger product. If he goes weaker, obviously he'll move right.
Yeah.
Stronger, he may move a little deeper inside.
Looks a little deeper on that shot. Yeah, he definitely moved to something stronger, but wow, it just didn't come up again, and 2-8-10.
Yeah, so Greg, he's been where we've all been at one point, lost. But doesn't mean he won't find it.
And that's not what you want to be going into a commercial break here, especially your opponent's riding a Team 4-bagger, and now you've got an open and are falling behind rapidly. So we're going to get to the commercial break for this game. Join us back from Motion Plus Lanes in just a moment for the rest of the semifinal match for the 2014 Action Heating Alternate Shot Doubles. Kerry Catania, listen to Harley Allman there, suggestions for tournaments, other stuff here at Motion Plus Lanes, and Kerry always with the open ear, always listens to his bowlers, gives them what he wants, and I'll tell you what, that's why Kerry's got the thriving business he has here in this 16-lane center in the middle of Cudahy.
Well, he gives them what they want and then some. I mean, and that's, like you said, that's why Kerry's been successful these last few years, even through the economic downturn.
You know, Toys for Tots, lots of fundraisers, just got done with the Bowling for Boobies event for breast cancer, and tell you what, Kyle threw that shot just phenomenally coming out of the commercial break. Usually we see bowlers having problems after that little short wait. No problem there with the Team 5-bagger. And boy, looking possibly for that 300 game, and we've seen it once before in the alternate shot doubles with Tony Bust and Dave Gajewski, and that's a $300 award thanks to Great Lakes Bowling, and now they're halfway there.
Halfway there, and I don't see an end in sight, but we don't want to black cloud them in any way.
Well, unfortunately, they don't get it for the Vera Papa 300 since they had the last 6 in a row last game and the first 6 this game. We'll buy them a drink at the bar when they're done for that one.
I should give a shout out to Greg Thomas, a recent team winner at the Plaza Lanes. Oh, that came up a little high.
That came up real quick.
Especially after leaving a 2-8-10 on the left lane.
And you just see right there, he's going back to Tony. He's just going, sorry, I don't know what else. And you know they had to bowl great to get here all day. You don't get the second place on these TV shows here at Motion Plus Lanes by averaging 190. You know, these guys average 230 all day.
And Tony takes one, and Greg bowls a lot of tournaments, but again, they took first place in the Team Baker format down at Plaza Lanes. Used to be Paradise West. And he bowled with a gentleman named Dick Wilms, I know, Tom Evans, 70-year-old Tom Evans, still throws the ball straight.
Yep, still plugging away out there as well. So $4,000 first place prize for that team. And hey, Greg found the pocket. I think he's going to start. Yeah, he's waving in the crowd here. Thank you very much.
And he's back to the ball he started with. And I mean, sometimes it's just throwing it a little bit better.
Or you make the wrong decision on what line to play. If you think the lanes are playing a little bit tighter, obviously this is fresh oil compared to where he's been all day, with having to move after 8 alternate shot doubles games in qualifying and then 3 games of match play. Lanes get chewed up. Now they're back on fresh oil, and even though there's only a couple of games bowled on them with these bowlers, maybe you just made the wrong decision on what line to play. And how can that 10-pin stand when that 6 went around that fast?
Yeah, you know, and it looked good off his hand, but only Kyle knows how good it came off his hand.
Well, that $300 award, safe for another game from Great Lakes Bowling for the use of their...
And Jamro's wasting no time, just curving it right at the 10.
Unless you got to think about it. You got to lead. You're probably throwing it pretty relaxed right now. You're up by 78 pins. Pretty much game over unless you fall asleep back there.
Notice Kyle wipes the ball every shot before throwing it, just to get that little bit of oil residue off.
You can tell some of the fans back there a little loose. I think there's a little betting going on back by the bar about if these guys are going to throw a strike on a shot or not. There's some money being exchanged back there.
Yeah, but it's all fun money, so it's illegal.
Absolutely. I heard $1 he strikes, I think, right there is what I heard. Well, somebody's giving up $1 on that shot.
And that one looked better off his hand, and you could just see by the roll the ball had, especially with the multi-colors in it.
Yeah, 279 possible here.
Yeah, and that could have been a solid 7. It hit so hard.
And with Team Roventini squared waiting in the wings here with Rochelle and Tony, you know, they got to be taking notes on what's going on, because 246 and the possible 279, you know that team of Jamrose and Gertzen is locked in.
So finally Tony gets another shot first time, and we know Tony can strike, so...
2 for 2 for Tony right now. He made a lot of spares out there while he was at, but now he's had his chance and goes 2 for 2. Greg wasted no time getting up there, knows the match is pretty much done.
On his good lane, and he gets it done again. Greg's going, well, should have been there the first few shots, but...
He's having a little fun with himself on the way back there, trying to humor himself, but, you know, you got a 211 max, you know you're pretty much out of it. You got to kind of look at the bright side and take home that third place money. It's going to pay for a good chunk of the day and a little fun after.
And they could have shot 258 and got beat by 20-some pins too. So
yeah,
when you're, the team you're bowling against is all strikes but one shot. Yeah, that's a tough road to hoe.
Yeah, 279 maximum here. If Kyle and Mike can strike out in the 10th frame.
Also stone 8.
So we'll see if Mikey gets to make a move off of that next game. But who knows if he'll get the shoot on there the way this team's going. He only had to switch lanes once this game, thanks to that 10-pin for Kyle in the 7th frame.
I should mention on Kyle's bio sheet his favorite pro bowler, past or present, Norm Duke and Craig Miller. And his interests outside of bowling, golf and Craig Miller. Now that's strange to have your ball driller be an outside interest outside of bowling.
Never know. It could be his golf partner. Never know. I bet you Craig could probably, if Craig hits a golf ball like he revs up a bowling ball, Craig probably hits it a long way. So, owner of Pro World Pro Shop up in Menominee Falls.
And Jammers gets her done, 279.
Oh, no. Kyle's got one more shot yet. 269 in the bag.
I'm speaking before it happens. So.
You just know they're throwing it that good, you're giving it to him. Tony with his third chance to shoot a strike ball this game and gets that 7 out of there.
Yeah, Tony's happy with that.
Yeah, 3 for 3 for Tony. The chances he got to shoot that first ball, but that's the perils of this alternate shot format. If it was Baker, you get a guy bowling bad, you might get, you know, a Dutch 200 game out of it. You know, now with Greg throwing bad, the other team really got ahead in a hurry, and you know, unfortunately for Thomas and Oliva, they're max 211. Kyle taking a little extra time. Looks like he maybe made a little bit of a move to the left there just to do an area check. And, yeah, that's a good area to be in. 10 in the pit. So, well, they've got that wave of momentum going into the final match. And Tony Roventini, Rochelle Roventini packing up the equipment, getting ready to head over to the championship pair in 9 and 10 here at Motion Plus Lanes. And why would it fall down for Greg after all this time?
Yeah, and it, he definitely got a better shot, but it almost looked like it's a little speed sense. Going a little long, hit hard.
No doubt about
question,
that. Greg's probably going to be beating himself a little bit about how he bowled this game, but hey, third place, another TV appearance here for Motion Plus Lanes. Not a bad day overall. 279 to 200, the final score of the semifinal match. Kyle Gertz and Mike Jamrose taking on Rochelle and Tony Roventini in our championship match. Join us for Motion Plus Lanes in just a moment for that. Well, here again at Motion Plus Lanes, just after the Toys for Tots has been completed this year, Kerry, and another great annual event. And your bowlers definitely not the Grinches that you see on your shirt there. I mean, bigger and better than ever this past year.
Unbelievable. I mean, the excitement, the 30 boxes of toys, at least I know that were donated. And definitely the money went up. The cash donations up over $10,218. Unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, it's just amazing the number of just good bowlers, bad bowlers, fun bowlers like we got back here that are just out having a great time and helping the kids that aren't really fortunate around Christmas time to get them gifts under their tree.
Especially this year, too, it just happens to be each year. The kids that didn't get it, the number went up again. It was about 33,000 just in the Milwaukee area alone, and about 65,000 total in the 9-county area. So I'd like to say thanks to everyone who donated.
Yeah, I mean, there were big events here, donation bins all over southeastern Wisconsin, and bowlers, friends, family, everybody came out and really helped Toys for Tots meet their goals again this year, and never a time to stop for Toys for Tots. You're already playing this next year's event in December, aren't you?
Tell you what, we collect all year long any cash donations and toys. Obviously, the cash, the Marines take it out and they buy toys for those kids in that area. So once again, the first weekend, Saturday and Sunday in December, get signed up. You can sign up today if you'd like.
And always check out the website at motionpluslanes.com to check out everything that's going on here. All kinds of fundraisers, whether it's Toys for Tots, breast cancer awareness, cystic fibrosis. If there's a fundraiser that needs to be done, they do it here. We're going to be back with a little more action from Motion Plus Lanes in just a moment, so make sure you stay tuned after this commercial break. I have a lot of viewers that ask me, why do you have so many of your tournaments at Castle Lanes? Well, Castle Lanes is a center that has an exceptional atmosphere. The charm of being in a Northwoods cabin while you bowl, an attentive staff on the lanes and in the lounge, all the big screen TVs and a free Wi-Fi hotspot, and being named in Bowler's Journal as one of the 95 places to bowl before you die, you have to bowl at Castle Lanes. That's why we love Castle Lanes, and you will too. Once again, Kerry Catania getting the crowd pumped up here. Getting the bowlers pumped up. And after that 279 game for Gertzen and Jamrose, they get to bowl the championship match here against Tony and Rochelle Roventini. Tony starting things off here.
Tony, a rhythm player on the left side, and if he gets it going, we're going to see a lot of strikes this match.
Yeah, well, we saw Tony earlier this season. He bowled with Lindsey Siegel in our mixed doubles championship out at Sunset Bowl in Waukesha, and he had a second place finish there, looking to improve on that. Last year, Rochelle made the TV show with Joey Biondo, the winner of the mixed doubles this year with her husband Vince. And other than a bad pocket 7-10 break for Joey Biondo, Rochelle and Joey could have ran the table last year to win the championship. Kind of what Kyle and wow.
And Kyle is going to have to make note of that. He may have to make an adjustment on that lane, especially when you throw all that ball.
Well, you've got 246 and 279 for your winning scores so far today. Something tells me, Joey, a $180 isn't going to win this match.
No, it's probably going to take 240 or better.
Mike up on lane 9 here at Motion Plus Lanes, and another great shot for 10 back.
And again, we have two of the finest left-handers ever. And again, they're not power players. They're strokers, power strokers, you can call them. But they make shots. They're solid at the line. They have experience.
And Rochelle Roventini, lots of high tournament finishes. Seen her on TV a few times with our Time Warner Cable Sports Channel telecast, and another great shot there by her.
And Rochelle, definitely a shot maker, and her ball can finish a little deeper in the pocket than anyone else due to the fact she doesn't have quite the rev rate.
Yeah, she's kind of playing. I think she took a little note from where Tony Oliva was playing last match, because if you think about it, as straight as Rochelle's game is, it's about as straight as Tony's. She's just a little bit slower and a little bit more with the forward roll. See what Tony can do here for the Team Turkey for Roventini squared. And nothing wrong with that shot.
And we always like to make note of bowlers' high games, high series. And we have to tell everybody that Tony Roventini shot the
second
ever 900 series. And, there's been how many since? A dozen since?
At least a dozen since.
Right.
So, yeah.
And Tony shooting it at Classic Lanes on Greenfield, on Layton Avenue.
Yeah, and that's the only bowling center in the entire world that has 2 900 series thrown into it. Mark Wickerman, the other bowler, shoot 900 at Classic Lanes Greenfield. And the first non-strike by Kyle all day, he was 12 for 12 before that shot. And you can see...
he did get it to the friction early, and he knew it off his hand, I'm sure.
Yeah, you get a little amped up. Your team's behind for the first time all day. You want to make sure you get that 3-bagger to tie it back up. And Mike, both with the ball, covers it nicely. So, Kyle with only 6 300 games. Neat thing about Kyle, though, he had a Baker Team 300 and a Baker Doubles 300 before he ever had his first individual 300. He did both those other Baker achievements while he was in high school at Oak Creek High School.
Right, and he probably enjoyed those as much or more than his personal 300.
Absolutely.
Knowing Kyle, a great team player, member of the Brunswick advisory staff with the Ron Volk's Horseman team.
Nice out of his hand. And yeah, whatever he did wrong in frame number 3, fixed it well in frame number 4.
And Rochelle coming into her own as of late. High series of 825, and I believe that was recently.
Recently at AMF Bolero on the Wednesday 3-Star Masters League.
High game of 299, which surprises me a little bit because 800s are infinitely more difficult to shoot than a 300 game.
Exactly, and you think when she can shred racks like that, there should be no problem with getting a 300 under her belt, but there's still plenty of time in her young career. She's only 38. A long way to go, a lot of bowling ahead of her. And you can see she knew that shot was in the pocket, just a matter of getting those corners out. Let's see what Tony can do here for the team handful. Get 5 in a row.
Tony, 43 years of age, blowing the rack.
A great shot to get us in the commercial break for this match. Still a chance for a perfect game out there, maybe? We'll see after this commercial break. Join us on Motion Plus Lanes in just a moment. Big crowd still hanging around here and taking some time out during the commercial break to enjoy their favorite adult beverage here at Motion Plus Lanes.
Yeah, one of our favorite bowlers there, Steve Falk, talking with Chad Claus. Probably giving Chad some pointers.
Especially after Chad taking 4th place today with Eric Fritton. Mike Jamrose here looking to keep his team close. They're down by 22 pins right now. Since the Roventinis have started with the front 5, and now team double, cutting the lead back down to 22 pins.
Yeah, I think whoever hiccups here is going to lose, and we do have one hiccup from Team Jamrose.
I want to thank Joe and Deanna Petkus once again. 6th year of support here for the action tournaments here at Motion Plus Lanes. If you're not in the team tournament yet, April 20th here, the action team shootout, I think there's 1 spot remaining from talking to Carrie this week. So, yeah, if you want that last spot, you better call him right away. 481-0200. That team shootout always sells out, and that's always another phenomenal TV show that we have here. And a great shot by Kyle there to get 3 in a row for his team.
And I don't think we're going to see Kyle miss the rest of the way here. He has jumped in a little bit, and he's using that oil for a nice, easy push.
Rochelle, nice out of her hand.
That was probably her best shot of the day so far.
We've seen her in a couple of TV shows in the past, and I'll tell you what, I don't know if she's working with Tony Moore or with another coach, but the way she's thrown the ball lately has just been, she's so confident throwing it.
Well, you need confidence, and we all know confidence is fragile. It can come and go pretty easily, and it just takes a few bad shots on our part for it to leave us.
Ooh, and a little weak there.
Yeah, so It should be no problem on the spare, but cross lane spares are not always easy.
Well, we've both bowled our spouses before in the past, Joe. I mean, neither one of our wives are pro tour caliber, such as a Rochelle maybe, but there's always that little extra pressure you get if you're bowling in a doubles event, whether it's a fun 9-pin tap Scotch doubles or a
Right.
Baker doubles.
But if that's their only non-strike and continues to be their only non-strike, I would have to say Rochelle gets bragging rights from today. And Tony should have to do the dishes for at least a month or two. And vacuum. I mean, if I lost to my wife, I would.
That's what you'd have to. Okay.
And you would.
Well, yeah, there's no doubt. I'd probably be doing laundry. That's the one thing she'd throw off on me. No doubt about that. Well, with a strike here and another strike in the next frame, we could have a 1-pin match. And how about that by Mike Jamrose?
Yeah, and Jammers is locked in, and I think he knows it's going to take a lot of strikes here. And he's just high flush every shot.
I think your 240 estimate, Joey, is going to be about at least 10 pins too low, if not 20.
Yeah, it's going down.
All 4 bowlers locked in.
And we've seen these lanes at motion play tricky. And when you're not lined up or wrong ball, I mean, look how Greg looked at game, and Greg is always dead flush. So you have to get the right matchup of equipment and execution. And Kyle is sick right now.
Just that one shot in the third frame, you know he's got to be kicking himself right now going, we could have the front 8 right here.
But see, he's not just striking. These pins are, I mean, they disintegrate upon impact.
Yeah, there hasn't been too many strikes today out of Kyle where it's been a late kick 10 pin. He had one messenger earlier that it had no chance of standing the way the head pin came back.
And that's not just revolutions. That's ball speed and revolutions.
Now here's the tricky part. Tony hasn't thrown a ball in that lane since practice, and he finds a way to go high flush in the pocket.
And nor has Roll on the left lane, and the left lane is a little tighter.
So you can see Tony talking to her right there on the approach, probably going, here's the move I made. Make this move on lane 9. And let's see if you can get yourself in the pocket, because otherwise right now, you don't strike, I think you might be done. And how about that?
Oh, that's all. Just high flush.
Ho-hum. Ho-hum, just another strike for the team. How about this? Well, the Roventinis have 240 in the bag, even with an open. Can strike out for 279. Gertzen and Jamrose, 278 if they strike out. So even if they throw the next 4 in a row, they haven't won the tournament for sure yet.
So what is your highest match head-to-head total ever, Phil?
I think one time back in the day at the Wisconsin Women's Open, we had a 268 to 238 match. So we had one match that got over 500.
A small 500,
Yeah.
and this is going to crush that.
This is the tightest, highest scoring match we've ever had. There's no doubt about that. We've had a 300 on TV here before for Motion Plus Lanes with Tony Bust and Dave Gajewski in the alternate shot doubles. So that match was over 500, but that was more of a blowout than anything against their opponents. Needs the first one to take the lead in the match for the first time, and how about that by Kyle?
Well, who's ever betting against Kyle in the background there is going to need to walk to that ATM machine.
Yeah, ATM right behind the jukebox here in Motion Plus Lanes. Go ahead and you can sing yourself a song of sorrow and take out a little cash. And he knew it when it was out of his hand. See the reaction there? Knew it was a great shot. See what Mike can do here to extend that lead out. And it's going to force the other team to double, and just gets that 7 out.
Mike fortunate to carry that 7 off the wall, and he knows it.
Well, count on this last ball is huge here, because if it's a 9 count for Kyle, it would only require the Roventinis to go double and 9 for the win in the 10th frame. But it's always tough to get that third strike and fill it in.
Yeah, that shot was a big shot for Mike, and I don't know if he realized it before he shot it, but he probably does now. It puts a little pressure on Team Roventini.
Yeah, Kyle.
That is if Kyle throws a strike, but I think we can just mark it up.
Kyle moved a little bit to the left with his feet there, you saw on the approach, and mixes everything up.
Possibly shouldn't have, but he still got 10.
And 278. So basically, if you don't see a Roventini throw a strike here in the 10th frame, Gertzen and Jamrose take home the championship. Double and 9 would be a tie, and it would be a single ball roll-off for each team member to break the tie. It's nice out of Tony's hand, and he scrambles up the rack.
Oh, yeah, and I'm sure he feels fortunate of that, because you never know when you hit light. Pins can collide and don't always cooperate and fall.
Well, you talked about confidence before, Joey, and I've said Rochelle looks more confident throwing the ball today than I've seen her in a while, and this is where it's going to have to pay off.
Yeah. 5-step approach, stays low, loose follow through.
Looks flush, and how about that for clutch?
Yeah, the ball is definitely finishing deeper in the pocket than Tony's. Sorry, Tony, but we call him like we see him.
Here it is. Strike for the win. 9's a tie. 8 or less. And Gertzen and Jamrose take home the 2014 Action Heating Alternate Shot Doubles title and the first place prize money.
Well, Tony has been known to throw a good shot when he needs it.
It looks good out of his hand, Joey, and just flush in the
Probably
pocket.
his best shot of the match. And Kyle is probably kicking himself in the butt right now for that lone 8 count he had back in the
Third frame. 279, 278. I mean, handshakes and hugs for everybody here. What a phenomenal match. Joey, thanks for sitting on the commentary today. I'm going to come back with Carrie Catania here at Motion Plus Lanes. We're going to give out some prize money and talk to the bowlers in just a moment, so make sure you stay tuned. Eileen's Bowling Buddy, used by high school and college coaches and members of the PBA Tour to train, warm up, and rehab. Get all the information at eileensbowlingbuddy.com. Barbier's Italian Inn, featured in onmilwaukee.com's In Search of the Perfect Pizza in January 2013. Near Miller Park on Blue Mountain Road and on Milwaukee Avenue in South Milwaukee.
Well, Kerry, we've had exciting finishes before. I mean, you look back at the singles this year, Dave Lubinski striking in the 10th to win a match, but 279 to 278 for a championship match. I wouldn't have thought that at the beginning of the show today.
I wouldn't either. I mean, it's awesome. I mean, they just been bowling good all day long.
Yeah, great scores out here all day, and quality. When you get quality teams like we did out here with a full field again for another Action Heating event, you can't beat it.
It's always fun every time when the bowlers come in, and once again we had another 300 game in qualifying, so it's all working out so far.
Yeah. Good stuff. Let's bring our second place finishers out here, Mike Jamrose and Kyle Gertzen. Come on out. You guys scrambled all day. I mean, you guys weren't really high, low. You guys kind of in the middle, qualified fourth for the step ladder. And where'd you get the confidence coming into the step ladder where all of a sudden you're just shooting huge numbers?
Well, once we made the cut, we were just one shot at a time. That's all we can do, and hope for the best.
You strike out in the 10th frame between the two of you. You got 278. You got to be thinking, they can't do the same thing we just did to beat us by a stick.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to do. I mean, to get that close.
They're both great competitors. They both know how to win, and they came through when they needed to. So Tony's a great competitor, and so is Rochelle. So.
Great bowling, guys. Kerry, how much money do we have for these gentlemen today for taking second place?
Not bad. $500. Congratulations.
All right, let's get our champions out here today. The Roventini family, Tony and Rochelle, phenomenal bowling. You two had to wait on the sidelines. Top seed. You see them shoot 279 the game before. You guys come out with the front four, and then they leave a spare in the third frame, and you guys got to be thinking, like, what do we got to do to win?
Well, I knew they were on a roll, so I just told myself just one shot at a time and see what happens.
And just great bowling. And you guys had a 300 game during qualifying, and is it tough because you were on the wrong lane, I guess you could say, during that because you're alternating shots? Was it tough getting up in that 11th frame, and especially for, like, that's the first family 300 for you guys, right? The Baker format or alternate shot?
Right, yeah, it was a good guess. It was, the lanes were pretty consistent from across the house, so I really didn't play it much different, just made sure I threw it good, give us our best chance.
Great bowling today. Kerry, how much money do we have for our champions today here for the Action Heating alternate shot doubles?
Look at this, $700. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Awesome, awesome bowling, guys. And we're not done with the Action Heaney events for the year. We always have that popular team shootout, April 20th. If you don't have your entry in by now, it might be too late because that's the most popular tournament of the year. There's only room for 16 teams. If you want to get in, get your money in. Call Kerry Catania here at Motion Plus Lanes. And what's that magic phone number?
481-0200.
And we can't forget the Peckus family once again, Action Heating and Cooling. Thanks again for your sponsorship. And we got another magic phone number for them. You can check them out at actionwi.com, or that phone number is 414-291-5400. Any of your heating and cooling needs, make sure you get it done. Kerry, thanks again for hosting.
Thank you, Phil.
Looking forward to being back here April 20th. We'll have that show for you sometime in late May, early June on Time Warner Cable Sports Channel. For my friend Kerry Catania here at Motion Plus Lanes and his wife Jeannie, thanks for foul judging today. Joyce Herrar back at Bowlers Pro Shop with the commentary. I'm Phil Bradlow, and parents take the kids bowling. They'll have fun for life. We'll see you on our next show.